Okay, I think using this for the first time was very interesting. I did feel like it was very rushed though. Hi, so my name is Dee. I will be the human representing the human. Topic for the three today is just like an idea I had, but yeah, for sure. I do think it does impact our way of thinking. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe down the line AI could do that because we have that, emotions and elements that a AI could. Oh, sorry. Yeah, let me finish my thought. Yeah, like I think AI will not have that. Oh, AI won't have that human element in the emotional, like emotion component of it. Like because like the two AIs are talking to each other and I'm just like having to press that join button and it seems like it glitches every now and then. Whenever I like talk, there are times that I want to pause, but then it I guess thinks that pause as me like finishing my like I guess segment or like conversation. Okay, I just learned that LM does not record your voice or transcribes like the interaction you had with the AI hosts. Everything that I responded is just my voice because I had it in my ear. Oh my god. I'm gonna have to do this again. So today I'm gonna be doing my very first attempt at this with, two AI podcast hosts and then with me. And I wanna see the interaction between me as a human and the two AIs and how this will work. Um, I did a little bit of a like test trial run, and I don't know how smoothly it will go because I have to click this button join every time, so I'm almost like interrupting every time. Let's see how that goes and how well I join in on this with all the stuff that I wrote, the stuff that I did, the behind the scenes. I gave it like four different things, like three things that I wrote. The book that I wanted to talk about, which is the John Green's The Anthropocene Reviewed, Capacity for Wonder. That's the chapter that gave me the inspiration. Yeah, let's see how that goes. Alright, take two.
Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take a whole bunch of interesting sources and, well, together we try to figure out what the really key ideas are.
Exactly. And you're here because you're curious. You want to get up to speed on things, but without, feeling totally swamped by information.
That's the goal. And today, we're digging into a really fascinating mix of topics, all based on the material you sent over.
That's right. We're going to explore how AI, artificial intelligence, might be shaping human creativity. That's the first bit.
Okay.
Then we'll look at language learning. Like, does it still make sense when translation tech is so good?
Yeah.
And finally, something a bit different the special place pets, especially dogs, have in our lives.
It actually reminds me of something John Green wrote. He said, "It is our attentiveness that is in short supply, our ability and willingness to do the work that all require."
Oh, hey, our listener wants to join in. What's up?
So I got this inspiration based on John Green's chapter. The chapter is titled Our Capacity of Wonder. And I thought, yeah, like our creativity and all that, will it be like dampened by AI if, it's so readily accessible rather than having to think for ourselves?
That's a fantastic point, and it really hits at the heart of what we wanted to explore with that first segment.
Exactly. You're wondering if having AI so easily available for creating things will mean we stop doing the work that all requires, as John Green put it.
And the sources we looked at definitely touch on this tension. On one hand, AI can be this incredible tool that lets more people bring their creative visions to life.
It lowers those barriers, like you don't need to spend years learning to draw to create a compelling visual.
But then there's the worry, as you're saying, will we become too reliant on it? Will we lose that drive to develop our own skills, our own imaginative muscles?
Like if you can always get a perfect answer from a calculator, do you stop practicing your mental math?
That's a great way to put it. And the potential downside is that if we're not actively engaging in that creative process ourselves, maybe that sense of wonder, that feeling of genuine accomplishment diminishes.
Right. If AI can just whip up something amazing in seconds, do we lose the urge to do the sometimes really hard work that leads to those genuine wow moments ourselves?
Well, it's definitely a mixed bag, isn't it, when you look closely? On one hand, AI absolutely lowers the barrier to entry for creative stuff.
How so?
Think about someone, maybe they have incredible ideas, stories, visuals in their head, but they don't have the technical skill, say, drawing or writing or composing music. AI tools can now step in and help bring those ideas to life. It's kind of democratizing creativity in a way we haven't seen before.
Oh, go for it.
Yeah, that's so true. But I feel like also like there's something that AI can never have, and that's like the human element of, I guess, humans in terms of like things like we experience and, emotions and, ability to like bond with our art and just the uniqueness we bring. Oh,
Oh, yeah, let's hear it.
and also, sorry, to add to that, like the uniqueness we bring to it from like our background and how we grew up and our culturally and everything.
Absolutely. You're hitting on something so crucial there, that unique perspective shaped by our individual histories and cultures.
Exactly. That's the layer of depth and originality.
Oh, back to our listener. What's up?
I was saying there's like that emotional component that's also not there when using AI.
Yes, that emotional component is so key. And you're right, that's something intrinsically human.
That ability to connect on an emotional level, to have those shared experiences that resonate deeply.
AI can process information about emotions, but it doesn't feel them in the way we do.
It doesn't have that lived experience, those nuances that come from being human.
Exactly. And that's what you're saying about the uniqueness we bring. Our emotional landscape is part of that.
So AI might help us with the technical side or give us new starting points.
But it's our unique perspective infused with emotion and our individual backgrounds that truly shapes the final result.
It's about us bringing our taste, our judgment, informed by everything we've lived through, including those emotional connections, to what the AI produces.
It's that human element, that emotional resonance that prevents things from becoming too sterile, too homogenous, too predictable.
Right. Because if everyone is using the same AI models trained on the same data, devoid of genuine feeling, where does the individuality, the heart, come in?
It comes from us, from our diverse backgrounds and the deeply felt way we experience the world. Okay, so that brings us nicely to our second topic.
Which is all about language. In a world where AI can translate almost instantly, does learning a new language still hold the same value?
It feels a bit like the creativity question, doesn't it? AI makes it easy, but are we losing something in the process? Maybe even some emotional connection.
That's exactly it. We'll explore the difference between functional translation and truly understanding a language and its culture, including the emotions embedded within.
And after that, we'll shift gears completely and talk about something that's definitely all heart and no algorithms: the amazing impact of pets on our lives.
From AI and language, where that human emotional element is so important, to the purely emotional power of our furry friends.
It's all connected in this weird and wonderful human experience.
All right, let's dive into the world of words and ask, do we still need to learn new languages?
And with that thought, we wrap up today's deep dive. It's fascinating to consider how technology intertwines with our creativity, our communication, and our most heartfelt connections.
Definitely leaves you with a lot to think about. Thanks so much for joining us on this exploration. We really appreciate your insights.
Wait, it didn't talk about new languages and having pets. Wait, hold on. Let me see if I can just join it even though it ended.
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, sorry. Let's go back to talking about the languages. Why they are, important.
Absolutely. Let's circle back to languages. You're wondering about the ongoing importance of learning them, right?
Yeah, especially when it feels like AI translation is becoming so seamless. It's a great question.
What's fascinating here is the distinction between just getting the meaning of words and truly understanding a language.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Hey, yeah, what's up?
Yeah, exactly. So I think when you're learning a new language, it's not just about learning, grammar and word for word translation. I think it's also like, immersing yourself into the culture. Oh,
You've hit on such a vital point. It's absolutely about that cultural immersion.
That's where the real richness of language lies, doesn't it? It's so much more than just vocabulary.
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, language is so intertwined with culture and identity.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Knowing the language gives you a much deeper window into how people think and feel within that culture. As you said, experiencing it firsthand as someone who's Korean gives you that unique insight. Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, like an example that I like can think of is like miyeokguk, and that's the literal translation is seaweed soup. However, miyeokguk is something you like eat for your on your birthday. It sort of touches on the meaning of like when you eat that for your birthday, it's sort of like incorporating that you want that person who's eating it to have like a long prosperous life.
That's such a beautiful example. It really highlights how much more there is to language than just the dictionary definition.
Absolutely. You're showing how language carries these layers of cultural meaning and symbolism that a simple translation just can't capture.
Seaweed soup might just sound like soup in another language, but you've given us this whole rich context of birthday celebrations and wishes for a long life.
It underscores.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think when someone thinks of seaweed soup, like one might actually think like, "Oh, that's gross," but it actually tastes really good too. Just adding that there.
It's such a relatable point. The initial perception might not align with the actual experience.
It really underscores how much our understanding can be limited by just the literal translation or a surface level view.
And that's true not just for food, but for so many aspects of a culture expressed through language.
Absolutely. Language learning also gives you incredible brain training benefits.
Yes, it's fantastic for cognitive skills, memory, and even boosting your problem-solving abilities.
Plus, it opens you up to entirely new ways of seeing the world.
And if we link this back to our earlier thoughts on AI and creativity, learning a language can even influence how you think and express yourself creatively.
It's like gaining access to a whole new framework for your thoughts.
Exactly, unlocking a different perspective on things.
Beyond that, there's a unique personal connection you make when you can speak someone else's language.
That direct exchange, that little bit of vulnerability, builds bridges in a way technology can't always replicate.
So while AI translation is incredibly useful on a basic level,
learning a language offers so much more depth, that cultural insight and personal connection you were talking about.
precisely, it really enriches both our understanding of other cultures and our own minds.
Okay, so what does this all mean when we put it together?
It means that even with amazing translation tools, the human side of language learning still holds tremendous value.
And that brings us to our final topic, shifting gears entirely to another powerful kind of connection.
We're talking about the incredible bond we share with our pets.
From the complexities of human language and cultural understanding to the straightforward, unconditional loves of our animals.
It really shows the diverse ways we find connection and meaning in life.
Let's dive into the emotional power that pets bring into our lives.
It's amazing how these creatures can offer such deep joy and comfort, often without us even realizing how much they do.
Have you ever had a pet that truly changed your life? Many of us have experienced that.
Oh yeah, go on.
Yeah, I had a dog named Goldie. It was a golden retriever. Beautiful, beautiful, wonderful dog. She passed away 2 years ago, but the impact it had on my life in terms of like all the good things, and of course there's gonna be times when it is stressful as well. But at the end of the day, she's a family member, and she's not just a pet.
Ah, Goldie, what a beautiful name for a golden retriever. They truly are special.
It sounds like she was a real member of your family, and it's clear how much she meant to you.
That feeling of connection, that bond you had, it's exactly what we wanted to talk about.
They really do become such an integral part of our lives, offering so much.
Because they bring such a strong sense of presence and establish comforting routines in our daily lives.
And they teach us so much about empathy, about being...
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, having another family member, like a pet, or they sort of like enable us to sort of like also grow up a little. Like I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it does help us in a way to grow up faster.
Yep, go on.
Yeah, so having a pet enables us to
Oh yeah, uh-huh.
So having a pet enables us to grow up a little faster, I feel. Because it still.
That's such an interesting way to think about it.
It sounds like you feel that responsibility of caring for another being pushes us forward a bit.
Yeah, like they introduce a different kind of accountability, right?
And you mentioned not being sure if it's good or bad, but leaning towards good. Why is that?
Well, it still brings so much good along with it, even if it means facing certain realities sooner.
That makes sense. That presence they bring is so grounding, isn't it?
It really does. They're just there in the moment with you.
Which really makes you consider the difference between emotional intelligence, which our pets excel at, and artificial intelligence.
Goldie sounds like she had an abundance of that emotional intelligence, that ability to connect and comfort you.
Absolutely. And that's something technology, as advanced as it might become, can't truly replicate.
So, thinking about your experience with Goldie and the other topics we've touched on today,
It seems like intentionally engaging with these aspects of life is what truly matters.
whether it's the nuances of language, the spark of creativity, or the unconditional love of a pet.
Circling back to John Green's slide from the beginning, are we still willing to put in the effort that wonder and connection require in all these areas?
That's a really important question to keep in mind as we navigate this modern world.
Thank you so much for joining our deep dive today and sharing your wonderful insights and memories of Goldie.
We always value you being here and contributing so thoughtfully to the conversation.
It truly enriches our discussions.
Until our next exploration together.
We wish you a wonderful rest of your day.
Okay, I feel like it's much better going at the very end, and it goes back to the topics that you want to touch on. Same as my original thought. When I did this the first time, and it didn't work out because I didn't realize that the audio file would not record. Because this feature that's there, download audio overview, I thought it would also record the stuff that I was saying, but it's just the AIs, like the original file. And even at the bottom it says, Notebook LM can be inaccurate, please double check its responses as well. Again, same thing, I feel like it feels very rushed when you're joining in, and it like glitches a lot. So if you want to talk for like a long period of time, any pauses like or like breathing room that you have, it'll think you stopped, like you stopped talking. I think going forward, rather than touching on like, let's say 3 different topics, it's better to just touch on one and then just expand on it and then join here and there. Yeah, I think it definitely helps that the 2 AIs are talking to each other, because if you don't, like for someone like me who doesn't like think right off the bat, it just doesn't come naturally for this. I feel like I'm almost like rushing through it. It's a little awkward. I mean, I am awkward, but I feel like it's even more awkward when I'm trying to do this. But hopefully with like more practice, I get better at like, thinking quicker on the spot, training my brain. Something else that I totally don't love about this is that it's just a video of me just blankly listening in. I feel like anyone who's listening to this or watching this would get absolutely bored. Because why would you want to see just my face and like no interaction whatsoever most of the time, right? So I'm gonna see if I can change something about that. But I really do like this idea of doing, just AI and human just talking, and see what AI has to say compared to what someone like me, like an average human being, would have to say about certain topics. And so that concludes my very first attempt at trying this human and AI podcast. Bye!